do you feel about regulations potentially coming down in the NFT space?
Well, I came into the crypto space like right at the beginning of the previous bull run. So I saw the whole ICO craze. I was confused. I was learning really fast. I was listening to a lot of Andreas Antonopoulos and the Bad Crypto podcast. And I was like, I couldn't sleep for 4 months. My hard drive went on total like mode. And, it was so incredibly exciting. And, part of the story is that I went to the first conference that I ever went to was the January North American Bitcoin conference in Miami. And it was packed, jam full, like 4,500 people or something like that. And Mo was kind enough just to, like, their team sent me an email that if you want to come over, we've got a spot for you and a table to present your art if you want. And I was like, hell yeah, of course I'm in. And made this piece about Miami and sort of tried to make it cute but impactful. So it has a peacock and a Bitcoin thing and whatever. But I also I was a fan of Miami Vice as a kid, of course. And many people don't realize that the skyline of Miami is pretty much built on cocaine. I mean, that's a lot of what's going on there. And now crypto is sort of transforming that infrastructure, and can be an incredibly positive thing. And this foundation of what we're putting together with Khurram Shroff and Ben Leff and a few others that was just got into the news yesterday is an incredibly cool thing, because we're physically starting the foundation in Miami and then likely expanding to Dubai and further from there. But I get to work with that infrastructure and help it transform artistically from my side. And Khurram, of course, I mean, he's pledged 100,000 Bitcoin to the building of the blockchain infrastructure of the whole of Miami. So he's making pretty big splashes. And let's see what that sort of whole thing brings about. But yeah, so the long and the short of it is I presented the art, and I met this one company who were a diamond sponsor at that place. And their founder and CEO put themselves on video saying that they're going to sponsor me $1 million gallery in Kensington in London, and we're going to do a world tour and all these incredible things. And I even, my lady was working 2 jobs like crazy, and she was nearly destroying her health as a, sort of personal trainer or group instructor at the time. And she was super tired and very, very at the end of her rope in a way, working hard for a little money. So I kind of did the cool thing, and I called home, baby, you can quit your job type of thing. We're solid now. And then the crash came, which was pretty much right after that conference. And then the money disappeared and the company disappeared and all those kinds of things. So I've already seen what it's like to get into something that you don't quite know what an ICO is, but people are throwing money. There's crazy energy. It's super positive. But also, from the seams, you see the scams and you see the craziness. And then, having been through a crash like that, it is feeling very much right now like NFTs are going to be the next ICO. So, but not probably in a similar kind of sense, because the art itself is much more substantial. The revolution is much more substantial because it influences so many different creative people who can output real value into the world. But I would say that, if I was an investor getting into NFTs, some of the points of like, how long has this guy been around? One real problem with the whole space right now, as far as I see, which is a problem, is that some of the early guys who came in and birthed the platforms and early whales and things like that, they're incredibly smart people. They're risk takers. They're wealthy people. And they're quite often the smartest guys in the room. And they're power players, and they move fast, and they do all these kinds of things, and they sense something and they're all in and put it together. But quite frankly, most of them don't have the 101 of art. And they're, you can see NFTs as a vehicle to talk about the technology, provide value, do a whole bunch of things. But if you do have an art background, you know what has been done before and what traditionally has held value for a long time, and what will probably be able to sustain the kind of money that is now thrown into the market, I would say like 90% of it is on shaky ground right now. So that's...
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. And I think that's something you said there. If people know their history, yeah, it's important to know what holds value and what doesn't in the art space. And I think it should, we do have a lot of people coming over from more of the traditional investment space who see it as like maybe an investment opportunity. And they're not accounting for that part that you mentioned. Same thing like when you're buying a property. I mean, you're looking for certain things. You know, like it's sort of what's important to you, but it's also like there's maybe foundational issues with the house that you're looking at too. So sometimes it doesn't matter how much you want something, it's just structurally not there. So,
but also just to say that not to be like a party pooper, quite literally.
Yeah, I don't want to be that way either. I'm just saying,
no,
like,
no,
it's important to take this into account. You know,
what I mean is that it's also crypto. It's very reflective on crypto in such a way that Bitcoin had its first bull cycle, then it had a bear, then another bull came. I think NFTs are exactly like that, but I don't know how tightly it will follow the movements of crypto altogether, because this is truly branching out crypto into the outer realms as well. There's many. I'm not going to claim that I understand what's going on. More than I have senses and whatever. I don't know what's going to hold value or what's not going to hold value or what's going to happen. I mean, just last year, I suppose, has taught most of us that we don't often have a clue of what's about to happen and these kinds of things. But I think it will follow in that kind of a way, that it will go through this hype cycle and then there will be a correction. But some of those early works that you've now bought for very little, some of them are going to be considered the next new gold standard of art. And this is the future of art, where it's altogether going anyway. But, you know, having been through one sort of crypto cycle crash thing, I tend to be a little cautious. And this is also, I mean, I've been sitting on 350 high resolution museum grade NFTs for 12 years. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, but I'm not putting my NFTs out there yet before the circle of collectors who truly understand that I've been building sustainable value for a long time. I don't want to sell my NFTs to moon boys because they will ruin them. The point of it is not for them to buy something and flip it fast and forget about it and not understand what it is that they're doing, because that would be a great, it's been such a great sacrifice to be here right now, that even though I feel it, I feel like, Jesus, I should, you know, but no, it's kind of, yeah, it's a bit like that.